Hello, and welcome to today's video. In this session, we're diving into the fascinating history of the rise of Marxism in Europe, a movement that reshaped political thought, inspired revolutions, and continues to influence global politics to this day. We'll explore the lives and works of Marx and Engels, the role of Marxism in early labor movements, and its transformation into a revolutionary force under Lenin and the Bolsheviks. Let's begin. The story of Marxism begins with Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, two 19th century thinkers who collaborated to create one of history's most influential bodies of work. Karl Marx was born in 1818 in Trier, Germany. He studied philosophy, law, and economics, but his critical thinking and revolutionary ideas often put him at odds with the authorities. Forced to live in exile for much of his life, Marx settled in London, where he spent decades studying and writing. Friedrich Engels, born in 1820 in Germany, came from a wealthy industrialist family. Despite his privileged background, Engels was deeply critical of the exploitation he observed in capitalist factories. His first-hand experiences shaped his commitment to revolutionary change. Together, Marx and Engels developed a materialist interpretation of history, which they outlined in their 1848 pamphlet, The Communist Manifesto. This work famously begins with the line, "A specter is haunting Europe," the specter of communism. The manifesto laid out the foundations of their ideas. History is driven by class struggle, particularly between the bourgeoisie, the capitalist class, and the proletariat, the working class. Capitalism, though productive, is inherently exploitative and destined to give way to socialism and eventually communism. The proletariat, through revolution, would overthrow the bourgeoisie and establish a classless society. Marx later expanded on these ideas in his monumental work, Das Kapital. Here he analyzed the mechanics of capitalism, including concepts like surplus value, exploitation, and the accumulation of capital. Marx argued that capitalism's contradictions, such as its tendency toward economic crises, would ultimately lead to its downfall. Marxism wasn't just an intellectual exercise, it was closely tied to revolutionary action. In 1848, Europe was rocked by a wave of uprisings. Known as the Revolutions of 1848, these movements were driven by demands for political reform, workers' rights, and an end to feudal systems. While these revolutions were ultimately suppressed, they demonstrated the growing power of the working class and inspired Marx and Engels to continue refining their theories. Marx, who observed these events closely, became convinced that the working class was the key to social transformation. In 1864, Marx helped found the International Working Men's Association, also known as the First International. This organization brought together trade unions, socialist groups, and other working-class movements from across Europe. It aimed to unite workers under a common cause, the struggle against capitalism. The First International gave Marxism a platform to influence labor movements and spread its ideas. Although it dissolved in 1876 due to ideological conflicts, its legacy lived on in the form of strengthened labor unions and the eventual creation of socialist and communist parties across Europe. Fast forward to the early 20th century, and Marxism evolved from a theory of class struggle to the driving force behind one of history's most significant revolutions, the Russian Revolution of 1917. This transformation was spearheaded by Vladimir Lenin, a Russian revolutionary who adapted Marxist theory to the specific conditions of Tsarist Russia. Lenin believed that Marx's ideas needed modification to address the realities of a semi-feudal autocratic state like Russia. One of Lenin's key contributions was the concept of the vanguard party. Unlike Marx, who believed the proletariat would spontaneously rise up, Lenin argued that a disciplined, centralized party of professional revolutionaries was necessary to lead the working class to revolution. Lenin's Bolshevik Party was instrumental in overthrowing the Tsarist regime during the October Revolution of 1917. The Bolsheviks seized power, establishing the world's first socialist state. Lenin justified this radical break with Marx's vision of revolution occurring in advanced capitalist societies by emphasizing the global nature of imperialism and the potential for revolutions in less developed countries. This brings us to Lenin's famous work, Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism, where he argued that capitalism had reached a stage where monopolies and imperialist expansion dominated. The exploitation of colonies and global markets, Lenin believed, delayed capitalism's collapse in industrialized nations, but intensified class struggle worldwide. The Bolshevik victory in Russia sparked a wave of revolutionary movements globally, from the German Spartacist uprising to anti-colonial struggles in Asia and Africa. The rise of Marxism in Europe wasn't just the result of groundbreaking theories. It was rooted in the material struggles of the working class and shaped by the upheavals of the 19th and early 20th centuries. Marx and Engels laid the intellectual foundation, analyzing capitalism and envisioning its revolutionary overthrow. The 1848 revolutions and the First International demonstrated the growing power of labor movements inspired by Marxist ideas. Lenin and the Bolsheviks turned Marxism into a revolutionary political movement, proving its potential to transform society on an unprecedented scale. Today, while Marxism has evolved and taken different forms, its critique of capitalism and vision of a more equitable society remain as relevant as ever. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more explorations of history, politics, and social change. See you next time.